and write a book that for my entire life, I've wanted to be an author. I've wanted to share something. And this is it. This is it. It's the story of my life with some creative coloring here, so with some names and places, right? Right. But it's the story of someone who has always had this positive lens on things. Sometimes other people would give him feedback. Other people would say that, man, you're just running really fast and we're all just kind of around your orbit. I mean, you're really positive all the time, but man, just slow down for a second and listen and pay attention to people around you. And I had a real challenge with that, Mark. I don't know if you ever felt that way. That's always been a challenge for me, is to slow down and really lean into the real things that others are saying to me. And since I've learned how to really lean in and be present with my wife, with my children, with the clients, with my friends, since I've learned to be present, it has changed everything. And now relationships are so much sweeter. People are now more open. There's now peace and fulfillment in my life, where before I was stuck in the perfectionism trap. I was stuck in, it's got to be a certain way. And this book is the journey of how I overcame perfectionism and how I got to a place where now I can really experience what God put us here to experience, this place where we can have fulfillment, we can have this inner peace. And it makes every other mission that I'm on right now so more worthwhile, because I've learned how to really be present and be with people. And this is the story of that. So thank you for bringing me on to share it today, Mark.
Well, first of all, life is an echo effect, so whatever put back comes back, but it comes back multiplied, magnetized, and magnified. So talk about how you were before, and then what is it that caused the re-vectoring so you get present time availability?
Before, hey, I was a friendly person. I was an ambitious person. I think a lot of people liked me. I think there was a lot of good. And I always had my eyes on some prize, and in order to get to that, it had to be a certain way. It had to be my way or the highway, in listening to employees. Okay, I appreciate that idea. We're going to do it this way. Or I appreciate that idea, and let's add this on top of it. I wasn't always easily giving credit or empowering others to do it. It had to be me. It had to be generated for me. That was one of the first challenges, Mark, that I noticed in business and in my interpersonal relationships. I just hadn't figured out yet. And I was kind to people, I thought. I was friendly, I thought. And the same feedback kept coming back to me over and over again. And so here's how I know there was a problem, Mark, is that I was not able to stay in any long-term relationship. And I couldn't see that I was the problem. There were so many relationships that I was in that, they ended. And it always seemed like, man, why is she like that? Why does she do this? Well, I was the common thread in all of that, is that I hadn't figured out yet how to be present with people and really hear them. That's the first problem, and one of the biggest problems, that the book shares how I came to some of these conclusions and all of the kind of the relationships that I had hurt along the way. And I'm truly sorry for those. And I've reached out to the people that may have been hurt in some of these relationships and apologize for it now. But back then I couldn't see. Now we see. So it's the story of that growth over time, of being able to take the feedback from others and finally, in a cathartic moment, seeing that, I've been blind. I'm the one that had the issues. And coming face to face that was really hard. Really, really difficult the first time. So
Today's the day. Go ahead, show the book, lift it up. It's The Eternal Optimist. It's never too late. Isn't that a pretty cover with the purple and gold, ensconcing somebody going into the light? Oh, I love it. And I saw you even on Instagram doing it. But now I want to go back to the principle that we're teaching here. Jack and I taught feedback is a breakfast of champions. Why weren't you willing to take the feedback? Did it have to get to a certain threshold? And because some of the people out there watching saying, I'm hanging on by my fingernails, my relationship capital is near zero. What did Matt do to turn it? And how can I turn it too? And by the way, I want you all to have the book. The book is an extraordinary book. It'll uplift your heart, mind, soul, body, and most importantly, your future. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, I can say, Mark, that for the longest time, I felt I did this really well. And if you think you do it really well, if you think that you're open to feedback, if you think you're good at getting feedback from other people and you're not sure, then ask. And for me, ask, like your book, ask, I wasn't asking for it, or I was asking and I was guarded at the same time. And the reason the book is called The Eternal Optimist, it's never too late, is that no matter where you're at right now, if you're someone that is in the early stages of your career, of your life, if you're a teenager, or if you've gotten to a place where you are aged past certain areas in your life and you think that it's too late, it's never too late to be curious and grateful. So the story that we share in the book is about curiosity and it's about being grateful. And as I've evolved over time, those qualities are the ones that have come to the forefront, Mark. And as I've developed true curiosity and asking questions about, hey, how how did I do with that? And then being genuinely open to whatever they say, that is the moment that I started to make the turn. Here's a really concrete example. I
Please.
remember right after Christmas in 2016, we just had the birth of our second amazing daughter, Lucy. And my wife, Julie, had said to me, she said, I want to talk to you about something important. And I need you to listen. And I had a coach at the time who said, Matt, you need to have a conversation with your wife and ask her for some feedback. Okay. So I went to Julie the day after Christmas and I said, Dear, I'm ready to have that feedback conversation. And I want to give you carte blanche permission to share anything on your heart, anything on your mind, anything that comes up at all. Share it with me, please. I'm going to do my best to listen and really listen with my heart. And she said, instantaneously, Mark, she said, Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, okay, yes, I'm sure. I didn't know what I got myself into, Mark. Yes, I'm sure. So she said the following words to me, which cut deeply. She said, I think you've been lying to me for a long time. And anyone that knows me well knows that there's any way to get me to see red is call me a liar, a cheater, or a quitter. Those like the opposite of my values are those things. And she called me a liar. I'm like, please tell me more. And she said, I think you've been lying to me for the entire year because you said that once we had our second child, you'd get rid of your sports car and we would get an SUV so we could have our kids, all the car seats in the back of the car. Right. And I did say this to her, Mark. Full transparency. I did say this to her. The thing is, she was giving me feedback that this was her top priority. And that's not what I heard. I heard through the lens of Matt that, yeah, we're going to get the car. And I told her we're going to get the car. And it wasn't a priority to me. So I had received feedback from her on a number of occasions, and my scope, it was not set to really listen and pay attention. It was set to do it through my lens. And that is what the book talks about, is how to widen your lens to help others and invite others in through curiosity and being grateful for what feedback they can offer. So to put a bookmark or put a punctuation mark on this one is that when she gave me this feedback, it all became abundantly clear to me that I had been doing this with a number of relationships in my life, that I have been accepting feedback through a very narrow lens, and it had to be on my terms. And it makes me sad to say that I have been accepting of other people only through my lens, not through theirs. Right? It goes back to habit 3. I mean, being able to seek first to understand, then be understood. And I was not practicing that, Mark. So, long story short, 3 days later, by the way, we did get the car. We did get the car. And this whole new world was open to me. And in fact, at that time, at that very key intersection 7 years ago, my coaching practice started to explode as well, because I learned to seek first to understand, then be understood. I read the principle. Honestly, I was not living it. I was not staying curious and living it. And from that moment forth, the seed of this book was born. And, fast forward, there are several more instances with feedback. And again, a number of them are listed in the book with slightly changed names, right?
Protect the innocent.
But that's right. That's right. But they're in the book. And if anyone out there feels like it's too late, or I can't do it, or that just opens up too much pain, or man, I've tried that over and over again, it just doesn't work for me. I promise you, it is not too late. It's never too late. With gratitude and with curiosity and with practicing, you've got to hone the skill. It's not going to come overnight to you. Didn't come overnight to me either. If you really want it bad enough, you can and you will make it happen. And this book will show you how. So, yeah, I think that's the first answer, Mark.
So everybody, I understand because I've read the book. I love the book, and he and I are dear friends. So you don't need to get one book today. You need to get at least 2 and maybe 3 or maybe even 4. And here's the real why. All of us implicitly have blinders on, which he called narrow focus. When you have your blinders on, you can't see it. And what you need to do is read it, give a separate book to your spouse, your business partner, your mastermind partner, your church colleague, whoever it is. Every one of us has some people in there that we're going to talk in. We'll give the definition to optimism, pessimism in a minute, but that's not right this second. Right now, we're saying the reason you're going to get the book and read it is you read it and you highlight it and you note it. And then you go over what you learned about you and have them tell you what they learned about you. And what it is what Matt just said. It's going to open up a whole new world. Look, you're born with more brain cells than you've ever used. This is the book that's going to light the fire, that's going to ignite awareness, which is the most important thing to have, conscious awareness. Take it away, Matt.
Well, I feel that one of the things that you just said that is so brilliant is reading it with someone else. Part of this journey that led me to this place of writing a book and being able to share this story openly and in public was I was keeping it to myself, and the people that were closest to me, the ones that could probably give me the best feedback, I did not know how to receive it from them. I didn't know how to give it to them in the way that they needed to hear it. And I tell you that when being able to read something that you're passionate about, being able to connect deeper with people, being able to overcome your biggest challenges, right? If that's something that you are deeply passionate about, then Mark is right. Get a couple of copies and read it with a partner. Make notes in it together. What did you hear from this? What did you understand from this? This is part of the journey of doing the work that will empower you to overcome these greatest challenges. Like, name the obstacles. It could be connecting with your spouse or significant other. It could be reconnecting with a child that somehow you feel was not obedient or didn't listen, or a parent who maybe has a little bit of a pride or an ego, and they feel it's too late. They haven't talked to them in years. This is the path to reconnect. If you're going to start, this is a place to start. If you're trying to connect with people that are in your organization professionally, if you're going to do that, this is a path. You can open up all kinds of neural pathways by doing the work together. So I would encourage and invite you to do that. And as you do that, you can flip through to any part of the book. The story itself, the first 12 chapters tells an intricate story of all different places. And it's an inner dialogue. You'll be able to tap into the inner dialogue of how someone who calls himself an optimist is thinking through this the whole time. Because it's possible. You can have a great attitude, be really positive, be really ambitious. You can be succeeding, and inside still be judging yourself. Still have some level that you have not been able to reconcile with your own perfectionism. I don't know, if your own inner critic is sometimes overpowering and that bleeds into your relationships, then get this book and read it together with that person. It's never too late. You can solve that problem now by doing it together, right? So that, back to you, Mark. You get me fired up over here. It's a lunch day.
First of all, I like eternal optimism. I'm going to have you define that in a minute, but let's go to it's never too late. My parents have transitioned out of life, but when I read the book, it made me think, wow, I would have loved to have deeper, more profound, more meaningful, more impactful, more purposeful conversations with mom and dad. They were great people, and they weren't meaning to be superficial. They had deep, profound values, but they never did what you just said, which the connection was loose, whereas the connection could be deep. If you read a book like this, it'll transition you, it'll ascend you in awareness, understanding, faithfulness, agreement, like you and your wife about getting an SUV, which I think everyone should have one, but we've got one. I love big cars. So you rode in one of our cars. I've got a new car since then. The point is, talk about reconnecting even with parents, because most children don't have deep, profound relationships where they talk about stuff that's meaningful other than eat your breakfast, wear your clothes, go to school, graduate college, go get a job. That is, forgive me, but that's superficial.
Well, Mark, I'll tell you a short story here from the past that I did not share with you when we had breakfast in Scottsdale. That when I was in high school, my dad started to sell Amway, and when he was doing that, he gifted me 3 books. And I don't think I ever shared you what 3 books he gifted me. The first 3 books my dad ever gave me, number 1 was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Number 2 was The Magic of Thinking Big by Mr. Schwartz. Number 3, Chicken Soup for the Golfer's Soul was the 3rd book my dad gifted me. I still have it over here on the shelf. And that was my introduction to Mark Victor Hansen, by the way, team. And that was 42 years ago. Wait, pardon me, not that long ago. That was 32 years ago when he gifted me that book.
Thank you for reading it. And just way aside, only on golf, because I wanted you to talk to golf before the end of this is over, but we're not there yet. I've got my questions right here. We're doing 2 books on the biggest guys that make golf courses. One of them is Lyle Anderson. He made Desert Mountain, Desert Highland, 46 golf courses with the Tiger Woods of the last era, Jack Nicklaus. So, wow. And it is an amazing book. So, and you will meet him when you come out to Arizona next time. So, let's do something. It seems so elemental that it's almost impossible. You got to define eternal and you got to define an optimist. What are those 2, or what is an eternal optimist? The 3 questions all at once. What's eternal optimist? What's an eternal optimist?
Well, the layman's definition of optimist, if you look at the Webster's dictionary, optimist is seeing things through a positive lens, just seeing the bright side of things, right? I feel that is incomplete, because some people would say the optimist is naive, that they don't see the negative, they don't see the hard stuff, they're blind to all of that, they just choose not to look. And I would disagree with that. An eternal optimist is someone who, I see the bright side, but eternal to me means that there is good in everything. We can take from the worst situations, from the most painful, worst possible things of humanity, and there can be a bright path that we can move forward with. You can get to that light at the end of the tunnel. The eternal optimist is one who sees every situation and asks himself, how might I show up in this situation and bring good? How might I show up in this situation and do the best I can do? Even when things are really difficult, right? I think that the worst day of my life was the day my dad died. That's the worst day of my life. That was 19 years ago, Memorial Day, right? Horrible day. And what's good from that? Well, there's a lot that's good from that. I think about him every day. I live up to his legacy, or do my best to, every day, right? I have an opportunity to go back and read his journal, and to read, like, still to this day, every morning when I wake up, his affirmations. I found them in a book, as a bookmark in one of his books, right? He had 5 copies of the How to Win, or of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I found this as a bookmark. Wow. I'm just discovering this and saying this out loud right now. I found this as a bookmark on seek first to understand, then be understood. The thing that he struggled with as well. Because, Mark, I think I did share with you when we were together my personal story with my dad of how we came back and reconnected. This is an example of eternal optimism, is that we had a falling out. We hadn't spoken in some time. And somebody had to go first. Somebody had to put their pride down and go first and reconnect. And I'm glad that my mother helped us to reconnect. So we came back together Memorial Day weekend, 18 and a half years ago, and we played in a 3-day golf tournament together. And in that golf tournament, within the first half hour of seeing each other, I saw my dad get emotional for only the third time ever, and every time I saw him, and the 2 times previous were when parents passed away. I never saw him cry before. I didn't see him cry at this moment, but I saw that there was like a red eye. I had a tear coming down my cheek when I came back to him and I said, Dad, I'm sorry for the way that I behaved. And I really apologize for the way that I snapped and talked with you. Right. And that moved him and it moved me. So we cleared the air in less than half an hour. It had built up for years and we cleared it pretty quickly. And we played in this great golf tournament together. And then I left him that night, that Monday night, Memorial Day. And we left in a great place. And then the next morning, I get the call from Mom, 7:04 a.m., that I need you to come home. Your dad just died. And that was the worst day ever. And I'm so thankful to God every day that the day before, in the last few days, we had spent this time reconnected and had forgiven each other. And it's never too late. As long as there is still breath in your body, it's never too late. The eternal optimist is the person who sees that they can make the choice, the conscious decision to move forward, to let go, to forgive or forget, or whatever they might want to frame it as. They can make forward positive progress from this moment forward. They only need to learn how. So that is what I would define as eternal optimism.
I like it. Go to, what is it that your mom said to you to open you up? Did she sort of allude to the fact that Dad's not going to live forever? Because every kid sooner or later has some problems with their parent. It is inevitable. It's part of the gestation of life, I think.
Yes. And Mark, here's the reality. The reality in my mind at that time, when I was 28 years old, the reality was I missed Dad. And the reality is I didn't know how to say sorry, and I wasn't going to. I hadn't emotionally been to a place yet where I knew how. I didn't know how. And I knew that he was smart. And I knew he was super successful. I knew he had commanded people in battle. I knew that he was a big military guy. I knew that he had done things that were to be applauded. And I still couldn't hear him yet because I still had this little boy inside of me who wanted to feel like he acknowledged me, wanted to feel like he says to me, "Hey, son, you're enough. You've done well." I just wanted to hear that from him, and I've been getting some feedback from him about how I was doing things. Because Mark, here's the reality: is that I wasn't going home for Thanksgiving for a couple years. I was so knee deep buried in business, and all I was focused on was growing a business that I forgot about my family. And I'm sorry to say that it still upsets me to even talk about it and think about it, that I was not a great son in my middle 20s. And that's part of the challenge, is that I did not take care of what I felt was my responsibility as being a son. My mom reached out to me. She said it would be great to see me again and be great for me to come home, and Dad misses me, even though he wouldn't reach out to me first. He misses me, and it would be great for me to come home and kind of work things out. So she was a great bridge, and she was needed at that time. And I thank God that she was there. And she is in the book. One of the special thanks in the book is to Mom, and there is something to Dad. There's something to you. There's some special thanks to some very influential people in my life who've made a mark, right? And my mom, as we record this here, as launch day is on March 8th, my mom just had a stroke recently.
Oh gosh, sorry.
And I know, man, right before Christmas. And I mean, when that happened, everything shifted. Nothing else mattered at that moment. We drove straight home with one of my girls, my 7-year-old. We drove straight there, and we went to the emergency room down there in middle Georgia. We had to be taken to Emory University in Atlanta for a specialist, and we were there by her side for a while. And one of the conversations that we had right there was, Mom, the book is launching soon, and I talk about you, and I talk about your impact on me in the book with a special thanks. And she said, I'm so glad that you and your dad reconnected.
These are great, touching stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the business of writing heart-touching, soul-penetrating stories like Chicken Soup, and I'm very thankful for that. But everything that Matt has done has got that blissful touch that causes we say there's 7 things, one of which is a tear in the eye, which is he's had and I've had now twice, once because of dad and once because of his mom. But every one of us, you can't be here without the parents. Even if one of the parents split, even one of the parents was an alcoholic or something, you still need, no matter what their age or chronology, it's never too late to try to get back with them. And another book we're doing is with the guy called Ike's Love Sandwiches. And he said he tries to get parents to reunite over a sandwich. And he's the fastest growing restaurant chain in America. And we love Ike Sheridan. Anyhow, it's just that. And he calls it Love Sandwiches because he's had more marriages at his restaurant than anywhere else. So what's going to happen on March 8th when the book comes out, sir?
Well, first thing is we're going to go to Amazon and we're going to go and get a copy. You can get a copy of the hard copy, the soft, or you can get the ebook. Get, as Mark suggested, get for anyone in your world that you want to reconnect with, for anyone who is searching for a solution to the biggest challenges. This is the solution. It's one part that will help unlock whatever door is currently hard to break through. This will help you break through that. So go to Amazon, get the book that day, share this book with every friend you can. In fact, do this. Go to your cell phone and text, or go ahead and copy the link from Amazon and send it to 5 people in your phone. 5 people you care about and love, and share with them this. And you know what? If you don't know what their challenges are, that's fine. The ideas alone in here will be inspiring enough and will be able to help anyone break through whatever it is they're working on. If it's not challenges, if they're in a great place, they want to accelerate something, accelerate some love or curiosity, this is the place to do it. So go and get the book today. And once you do, go and post it on your social media account. Go and post on your Facebook and your Instagram. Leave that review so others can share in the joy. We're going to go straight to bestseller status, baby. We want to get out there and get this word out and have a great impact on the world. There is so much tough stuff happening in the world right now. We need more positive. We need more energy. We need more of the good. And this is going to bring it to you, my friends. From my heart to yours, from my publisher and dear friend, Mark Victor Hansen. By the way, I knew that Mark was an amazing human being when we had breakfast and that lady dropped the napkin on the ground and Mark and I almost headbutted each other trying to pick it up. And I knew that Mark is the kind of person, he's the kind of person, we were standing in line waiting to check out. He's the kind of person that sees the details and wants to help people. Let's help people in our lives. Get a copy of the book. And God bless you, my friends. Thank you for tuning in.
I want to just hit on that real quick about send the link to 5 or 7 or 10 or 20 people, whatever you got. Some of you got big lists of friends, and just say the key line. I'd say based on what Matt said, and I'll tell you where we did it, building my businesses. But type in the line on your computer or your cell phone. I know you're going through some challenges now, and this is a book that is helping me. This is a book I watched Matt and Mark talk about, and it will change your life from good to phenomenally good. And just love, and then whatever your name is. Now, back when I was starting my speaking business, if people didn't buy my seminars, I just, would write them and say, I just had such a joy being with you. I just want to congratulate you for what you did today, and just sign my name. I didn't know what they felt. Everybody will go through their whole life and find what they got congratulated for. Getting up in the morning, kissing their wife goodbye or their kid, or taking their kid to school. We don't care what they congratulate. We don't care what their challenges are, because the 3 incontestables in life that Matt just hit on is, number 1, everyone's going to have pain. Number 2, everyone's going to have suffering, which you just heard him suffer with and go through and overcome. And number 3, we're going to have adversity, and you've got to overcome your adversities, because the whole book of the Bible starts with nothing but adversity. Joseph's many-colored coat. The guy's got to go through some serious challenges to get to what you meant for my harm, God meant for my good. And that's what this book is. This book is meant for your good. Matt, what results are they going to get as a result of reading The Eternal Optimist? It's never too late.
As a result of this, it's going to help nudge you one step forward. And a wise person once said, you're farther away than you want, but you're closer than you think. You're closer than you think to overcoming that big hurdle. This is the step. When you take this step, it will empower you to walk through that hurdle, that letting go of whatever that challenge is, by learning how to ask a different question, a better question that will uplift and empower you. If you want to break through whatever it is, that self-imposed shackles that we hold, if you want to break through the things that are keeping you in place from making that phone call, that one phone call, they could change everything. It can help you to forget or forgive or to move past the stuff that's holding us back. This is the book that will show you how I did it. And I'm not anyone special or different than anyone else, my friends. I'm just another person, flesh and bone, just like you, that has stuff. And how I overcame the stuff is by taking that action. And here is how we take the action. You can learn how to do it and hopefully gain some inspiration from this person who did it too. So get the book and walk through that portal together. And when you do it, by the way, reach out to me. I'm happy to share some feedback, happy to share more of the story as you go through it. By all means, sincerely, my friends, reach out if there's anything I can do to serve you. Get the book and let's walk through that portal together, my friends, and share that with the world. Make the world a better place.
Yeah, and when you read it, write a review and send it to Amazon, because those reviews help keep the book selling. And we want, back to what he said, the world is tilted towards negativism, and let's go back towards positivism and optimism out of pessimism. So now tell them what it is that you do for a living. I know, because I've been with you for walking the golf course of the world here at Phoenix Open with you and my wife. Tell us what you do as a coach and for your right livelihood.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Well, I'm an executive business coach. What that means in English is I help other people who are recovering perfectionists overcome their stuff and grow and scale their empires. The people I work with right now range from people who are running several $1 million businesses to multiple hundreds of $1 million businesses. And I help them really connect with their people. I help connect with their clients, and I help them to bring their vision to reality. Most of them have a perfectionist tilt, and there's something they've got to overcome internally. And I'm an expert at helping them do that. So I'm glad to take on new clients as well. Really, today, it's all about the book. That's what I do professionally. But what I really do is I am a harbinger and a bringer of this eternal optimism into the world. Just like you are a bringer of light, I am the same. We are here to bring good to the world. And I do it through business coaching. I do it through books. I do it by being around people like you, Mark. But that is what we're here for, is to help people in this world. So that's what I do professionally. And I also coach girls soccer because I've got young daughters, and enjoy being a part of the front row dads community. But coaching people and helping them overcome their biggest stuff, that's what I was born to do.
Wow, I got so much I could dive into on that, because I did coaching of my daughter's soccer, and it's a wonderful sport, and it's a sport that's coming on strong in America, where it's obviously been stronger elsewhere. So one last thing, what is the number one affirmation that you do every day that helps you stay positive, that might score for the people watching and listening?
Thank you for asking. This stems from one of my biggest challenges in dealing with my emotions. The affirmation that I share is this. Every morning I read this every day since 2015, July 22nd. I've read this every day. Patience is my armor for anything out of my control. If I move to anger or frustration, pause, Matt, and ask a question. That's what I say every single day, and it has helped me to go from a place where I used to have a temper to a place where we live in a home of serenity now. We have boundaries and standards. We don't yell anymore. We've learned to have this emotional intelligence, and I would say that a lot of that comes from practicing this affirmation every day, Mark, for almost 9 years now. So thanks for asking. I didn't expect you to ask that. That's a pretty cool question, man. Thanks a lot.
I love it. Is there any question I should have asked that I didn't ask, to take the audience to where you are, which is serenity, peace, calm, and eradicating, like you said, anger, which always comes out of some fear that you're not enough, which we talked on the first thing, right? Is it most people don't feel that they're enough personally, enough in a marriage, enough in work, enough in church, enough in spirituality, enough in whatever. So any last question I should ask you that I didn't?
I love the way you just framed that. And my mind would go to, what if I don't think I can do it? If there's a listener out there right now watching this who's thinking, I've tried, I just don't know how. So even for someone like me who I don't think I can do it, would this book be right for me? And the answer to that unequivocally is yes. that this is the book for you. This is the time for you. There's never a better time than right now. It's not too late. You were born with amazing potential that is unlimited, gifted to you by God. And to lean into that, here is what it looks like. Just take the next step. Just keep trying. Get up one more time. When you do that, you will make it. Trust in that. You will make it, my friends. You will. It's never too late.
So you can buy the book today on Amazon. The orders build up. The book gets released. It'll be sent to you on March 8th. But if you've watched this and you're thinking about it, you're reviewing it, don't think about it. Just invest a little and you'll get a lot out of this book. A book is the screamingest value on the planet. It'll change you. Because when Matt and I started this, we said, look, it's got to be unique. It's got to be inevitable that they're going to love it so much they want to change their own family and the people that they love and their work with. And it's going to be transformational to you at a soul, mental, spiritual, and physical level. That's Matt's and my promise to you. But order it today. Order it now. Don't think about it twice. Get multiple copies, like we said, and make everybody better off and no one worse off. Final word, Matt.
Inside the book, there's a picture of my kids, my family. I do it for them. I do it for them. Who are you going to do it for? Who is worth it enough in your life for you to take that step and own it and work through those challenges, my friends? Because you can do it. So the final word is yes, you can do it, my friends. Pick up the book. God bless you. Love each and every one of you. And thank you so much, Mark Victor Hansen, for having me in here today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I love doing it, and I want everyone to get a copy of your book. Thank you, everybody.